right on the midnight second. I don't know that YouTube's not gonna post this on the 20th, the day after I intended, but I'm kind of ending my days by talking to you guys. So, you know, what day actually gets the credit doesn't really matter. What are days anyway? You know, a little ASMR for you guys. So, I'm going to attempt to use my laptop to pull up some of the comments for yesterday's video, and I'm going to uh, respond to those and maybe tell you guys some stories. But while I'm getting there, um, I had to watch a video today from the World Health Organization as part of my grad school training. And this video was about the level of like third grade reading level. Okay. And I'm like, why? Why am I watching this? I don't, but it looked like a parody of Clifford the Big Red Dog, right? And the video is called I Had a Black Dog. His name was Depression. And yeah, just like Clifford the Big Red Dog, um, all of the scenes feature the dog in it, but sometimes you wonder if the dog is actually present or not. Is it like the specter of a dog? You don't know. Um, is it just all in the guy's head? Some of the pictures, definitely that's the case. But, the reason why I had to watch it was I was asked the question, how would you use this in your practice to communicate about depression? And yeah, in my answer, I kind of took screenshots by turning on the closed captioning on YouTube to spell out the stuff for me, and then I compared different frames of the video to the DSM criteria for depression, just to show that like the artist was nailing all the good key points because I could pick out a couple frames for each of the criteria for depression, and yeah, if you want to watch that yourselves and follow along in my grad school journey, the video is I Had a Black Dog. His name was Depression. And there's actually a follow up video to it that was put out like 2 years later. And it's like Living with the Black Dog. And what's funny is I actually have literal black dogs, and they do not cause depression. They actually help cure depression. So I feel like the way that they make the villain of depression into a black dog as as part of like the I don't know, the physical representation of depression. It's like why did they pick something that could actually help alleviate your depression to illustrate depression? uh but whatever. um so let's see videos from yesterday. See, something weird happened, and yeah, I didn't have like hardly any video viewers during my live stream yesterday for like 16 minutes. Nobody commented, and then after the video posted, um, it actually got comments on it from people when they finally saw the video. And I don't know if it's because I'm staying up too late or uh, if I'm just not letting you guys know my plans on posting videos, and that's what the problem is. But yeah, I'm 5 minutes into this one and no one's posted a comment. So, pulling up my live streams. And here we go. Dan Jensen, Guinea Pig Dan, he says, I am a constituent of Amy Klobuchar, and I refer to her as Klobavirus. Okay. M. James said, people, myself included, who strongly like or strongly dislike Bloomberg are going to be upset either way. I have seen numerous complaints before he qualified for Nevada's debate that he's leveraging his wealth to pull strings from the shadows without appearing at a debate. Um, yeah, that's my feelings as well. And in 2 days, the Nevada debate or the Nevada caucus will happen, and so we'll see if he gets any delegates. I mean, nationally, he was polling at like 15% now because he bought a whole bunch of ads. But just the fact that they removed the uh, qualifier for the debates that you need a certain number of donors just because he's self-funding. That part really rubbed me the wrong way because to see the begging in the emails that I got for donations, um, and how they would say, we have to make this much money between here and here from this many people, and how they jump through those hoops. And then just because he comes in with a whole bunch of money, he doesn't have to jump through hoops. They could just change the rules and say, okay, we're done doing it that way. You know, now for this next leg of the competition, since Mr. Bloomberg is with us, we're going to just go by polling and whether or not you have a delegate in a previous uh, primary battle. It's just so bullshit. He should have to get enough people to give him money, just like all the other candidates had to get on the first debate stages. And the fact that he could just skip all that shit and just have the rules changed so that he can play on the debate stage as well. It's fucking bullshit. Um, Got That Funk says, I admit my bias against Bloomberg up front. He's an awful person who is unfit for the presidency. Um, Also, after my video, um, hey, Umbert Lapagos says, it's alive. Yeah, it's alive after midnight. After midnight, we don't let it all hang out. Drink pineapple Nazi soda. Um, where was I? Oh, in the morning, after my video had been up for a couple hours, I woke up and my Twitter feed said that 60 plus women in like 40 plus charges against Bloomberg are, of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment. And I'm like, wow, that was a quick backlash against Bloomberg. I mean, I don't know if it's trending, but, you know, you can probably Google Bloomberg sexual assault and see how many people have accused him. And I'm not sure, but those are pretty high numbers. I'm like, does Trump even have that many? Like, President Pussy Grabber, does he have as many sexual assault allegations as Michael Bloomberg? Let's see. Bloomberg allegations. Now, they are just allegations, all of them, but apparently in the debate that he was able to get into, um, Elizabeth Warren was picking him apart over sexual harassment at his company. And I don't know if it's actually going to keep him from getting the same 15% that he was going to get anyway, but he's definitely lost the woke vote. All right. Let's see. And Nick Bravo here in the comments says he didn't see it, so the DNC is bending the rules for him, but his fellow candidates want him thrown out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they all the candidates that had to raise their money the old-fashioned way want him out of the race whatsoever because he can self-fund 10 times what any of those people can raise and still be rich. So, yeah, they want him gone. Back to the comments in my last video. Broadline said, yes, Bob Ross. That was just for the first part of the video. Um, Poseidon Kickladon says Trump has a higher approval rating now than he did in November of 2016, and that's true. And if he wins re-election, I guess he might actually get over 50%. You know, you can only go up from here. Uh, oh, Poseidon Kickladon says, "Do you support bringing emotional support horses on airplanes like a woman recently did?" Also, read my comment on your last video, the one you didn't give a heart to. Oh, I give hearts to people to say that I read their uh, comment, just to let them know that I read it. If I'm not going to reply to it, um, sorry, sorry, I didn't hear. I'll give you a little heart, and I'll just reply to you now. I was going to write something out, I guess, and got sidetracked. But he says, Trump has higher approval numbers now than he did in November 2016. They'll only get higher after his post convention bounce. It'll be hard for Bernie to win. Beating an incumbent president is a very difficult task. True. Clinton only managed it in a three-way race with, yeah, I remember that. That was actually the first presidential race that I paid attention to, um, like in my political awakening. And it says, and Reagan crushed Carter due to the worst economy we've seen in the past 75 years. And Carter was Carter. Um, but if the Democrats are insane enough to let Bloomberg buy the nomination, then there will be no contest. Trump will easily win re-election. Um, I don't know that it would be like a complete easy, you know, underhanded pitch to Trump just to throw Bloomberg out there, but um, I think that Bernie would have a better chance than Bloomberg. Yellow Labrador says, "How could The hoi polloi know who to vote for. The billionaires have spoken. Funny how many of them fit into the Democrat Party. It must be Democrat policies that attract them. That is an interesting thing, where like uh, you see people who get a little bit of success in their life, and sometimes their political views shift more conservative. Um, and you see that in the income bracket of between 60,000 and 250,000 a year. Anything more than that, and then you start to see this weird shift the other way to more liberal policies. It's weird. There's this whole income bracket that seems to, when people break into it, that seems to make people think, huh, maybe I want to keep my money and be taxed less. And then when people make stupid amounts of money, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, I don't mind if I get taxed and everybody else gets taxed. I'll still be fine. You're welcome for answers, Poseidon Giggleton. I'm sorry that I use hearts the way that I do, but like sometimes I get enough comments that I can't fit a written out answer into uh, my day. So I just give some people hearts, just telling them that I read their stuff, and then uh, reply to the rest. And let's see. Thanks for showing up, Stormsinger. Um, Ivan wants to know, is the Black Dog film. I had a black dog, and his name was Depression. He wants to know if it was a reference to Winston Churchill's depression. I don't think so. But Ivan notes that Australia has the Black Dog Institute. And guess what? The author of the World Health Organization's video was actually Matthew Johnstone uh, from Australia. And I have no idea what the link between his book and the Institute are, but the Black Dog Institute has endorsed his book. So um, there's that. I wonder if black dogs are rarer in Australia. Ivan says, I fully diagnosed Rev. He is also personality disordered, a weird blend of cluster C and A. I love personality studies. Bye. And then just bye. Okay, first, uh, don't diagnose people over the internet. It's not a good practice, especially if you have credentials. But even if you don't have credentials, um, not a good thing to do. There are reasons why uh, diagnosis usually involves in-person interviews, or at least, you know, an hour of a telemed session where you're talking directly to a person and they can react to what you are saying. Um, you don't know if people are always putting on a front here on YouTube, and if their actual personality is something completely different than what you're seeing. Put a camera on someone and you get a front. And also those cluster CNA things. Like clinicians these days don't talk in terms of clusters like that. That's more DSM-4 TR style, not DSM-5. And you're dated in your diagnosis capabilities, I guess. You're showing your age. Get with the times. By the time you figure out all the changes in DSM-5, though, they'll come out with DSM-6. Nick Bravo says billionaires don't pay taxes; they pay people to find loopholes. Um, I actually disagree because some of these loopholes that they use are actually just back end taxes. Just a second. Yeah, babe. Okay. Gotta let my dog out. 1 minute. I'll have to let him back in too. But interestingly enough, if I really cared about these gaps in the broadcast, you can actually use YouTube's video editor and cut them out. So they only get experienced by people who are live watching it. But I'm not going to go back and cut out all the gaps of every live stream I've ever done. That's just why, you know. Poseidon wants to know, uh, did I watch the entire debate? It was the most entertaining, least boring one I've seen in years. If you did, give your full analysis, please. I didn't. I did not watch it. I will put it on the background as I am entering in my notes at work tomorrow. And then I'll give some analysis to you guys tomorrow night. I did not get to tonight. I had some projects I had to work on, like an analysis of a video that was basically written in third grade dialogue, at a third grade reading level, and looked like a parody of Clifford the Big Red Dog. I'm going to go get my black dogs and let them back in the house. Back again. Okay. It is actually glowing outside how much snow has fallen in the last couple hours. Uh, like one street light can light up the whole street, you know, when everything is covered in white snow and glowing, you know. The clouds are still overhead and there's no moonlight, but outside it is just like that eerie glow where you can see everything when it should be pitch black. Um, so Where was I? Okay. Nick Bravo said billionaires don't pay taxes, they pay people to find loopholes. Here's the thing, those loopholes are sometimes backdoor taxes. Let me explain. If the federal government says that General Electric in their Waukesha plant can have a tax break if they make the entire area between their parking lot and Grandview Avenue a bird sanctuary. And this is like acres and acres of marshland that they create. And then they get this huge, like millions of dollars of tax break for it. That's basically more directly using tax fund, what would have been tax money to create a wildlife refuge, a good stop for ducks. This is a real life example, by the way. You can look it up on Google Maps. Um, the GE plant in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and yeah, that bird sanctuary is something that bird watchers get to use, and they get to see the birds that are rare that like to land in the water there because it's like a fake marshland, and it's like uh, you know free of hunters, and ducks will stop there on their way north and on their way south, and anyways, the government decided, you know, that that would be a good thing if more of those existed. So they created a tax break for it. And the company tried to uh, use that loophole in order to save on taxes, but the US government got da 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 wildlife refuges out of it. So, they could have just taken the money like directly from the company and then just bought their own and like managed them and did all the upkeep and stuff. But really, um, they thought, government fucks shit up all the time. So like, let's just let the companies bear all the burden of figuring out how to do it, and then doing all the upkeep in order to get the tax break every year. And we'll just give them a loophole instead of spending all the money on all the different zoning and planning specialists and all of the different studies that have to be done before a government project can, you know, be done. Um, no, we're just going to let them use their own private land and give them a tax break for it, for making it a place where wildlife likes to flourish. So it's not like they're paying nothing. They're just using these tax offsets and tax breaks that are there. That's just a different way for the government to spend money. They're spending their money just in a backdoor way. So let's see. Okay, Poseidon, I'm expecting to be able to give an analysis tomorrow night. Um, and that'll be the day before the Nevada caucus because tomorrow night will be Thursday night. Let's see. Ivan wants praise before he leaves because he's narcissistically basking in my glory. And then he left before he could hear this praise because he just left a comment of bye. He says, I diagnosed him over the internet. He's personality disordered. Well, I met the guy in person, and I don't know that he has the personality disorders that you say he does. I also leaked one line of the last thing that he texted to me because I was making a video and just like the last or the first sentence of the last text that you get from every person shows up on my phone. And people made a big deal out of that. It's no fucking big deal. There was some stuff from Nick Bravo, there was some stuff from Rev. Um, this is actually one of the reasons why I put people's screen names in my phone rather than their actual real names, even though I think of them as real people that I've met, you know. Um, I don't like to put people's real names in my phone because one, somebody could steal it at a YouTuber meetup and then know all these other people's real names and phone numbers. But two, sometimes I'm trying to show you guys something on my phone and something flashes just for a second and I don't see it, and I don't want it to be somebody's real name. So the perils of being a YouTuber. Let's see. Ivan says he likes them humiliating him for being a doofus. Um, I don't think you're a doofus. I don't. I'm not going to diagnose you as being a doofus either. I'm not categorizing you. I'm not labeling you. I'm just saying. Let's see. Would you give up being King of England for Wallace Simpson? Who is Wallace Simpson? Wallis. Apparently, other people have already looked this up. Uh, I don't know that I would. Ugh, uh, mm, um, I don't like hairstyles that happened back in that day. You know, some of them kind of look like Simpsons esque. I don't know. No, no, I don't. I don't think that she's the bee's knees. There are some uh, not so flattering pictures of her too. I mean, there's some good ones, and then there's some. Uh, no, who let the dogs out? I let the dogs out, and then I let them in. Um, chair stream. That's what David Lass is asking. Chair stream. This is a couch. I know you guys like the lazy boy that's up in my office, but it's cold up there because it's winter time. So I'm down here. Mm-hmm. Nick says it's -2 where he is. I don't know what the temperature where I am is. It's 16 degrees here right now, Fahrenheit. I just almost clicked the screen of the laptop. Oh my goodness. Just because I wanted to translate it to Celsius for uh, my international audience. It's -9 degrees Celsius. We're at this impasse in technology where uh, sometimes you get caught trying to tap on things that aren't touch sensitive. You know. Let's see. All right. Okay, Poseidon says, have you ever eaten a quince? I believe I have. Um, hmm. I just looked at it, and I think I've only eaten one in my life. Um, I also have eaten two persimmons in my life, and it's an old coworker of mine 2 years ago gave me my first persimmon, and I had never seen one before, and it looked like a tomato, and I don't really usually like just biting right into a tomato, especially cherry tomatoes. Um, and so I was very hesitant to eat this persimmon, and then I ate it, and it was actually not a bad thing. I don't know what Alan's saying here. He says realism is an orbit that is always changing within its gravity. That's too deep for me right now. It's past midnight, man. What are you trying to do to me? I'm a platonic concept in your mind. We've all watched Waking Life by now. No, I haven't. Let's see. Waking Life. This better not be porn. This better not be Two Girls, One Cup porn. It's 2001 drama fantasy movie. Uh, I'll give it a watch when I get a chance. I'll just leave that browser up and I'll get back to it. Nick Bravo says that he's considering transitioning now. Is he going to look more like Blair White or Chris Chan? I have opinions. I just don't want to say them. It's part of that fear of being burned by woke people. You know, I will say this: a lot of people jump the shark with the modifications that they do transitioning, and sometimes uh, your your best bet is to leave everything alone because when you start messing with stuff, just remember Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Just people go too far. Even saying that, I guess, is not the wokest thing I could say, but whatever. Okay, Ellen says, uh, I have a A beehive haircut of psychology? Um, Not really. Uh, okay. Let's see. Ivan says I'm a couch guy like Tom Jump. I don't know who Tom Jump is. He has the best couch on YouTube. It looks like a caterpillar. Uh, Now I'm a cow tongue kind of guy. I don't know. Um, let's see. Ivan says he looks to me as an internet role model. Well, uh, my 10-year anniversary video has had a couple of submissions come in where I'm like, the people who did agree to uh, put some submissions in for it and say a nice, happy 10-year anniversary. I was impressed with myself, with the caliber of people that I have had as friends over the years and have uh, decided to help me out with that. And it's coming together nicely. Today I got four more submissions, and yeah, let's see. Submissions I'm still waiting on. Uh, Brian J 1962 is hemming and hawing on Twitter, saying he doesn't have enough time because he's got some health issues and yada yada yada. But I would really have wanted him to be in it. And Aldous Valor replied to my tweet with the image of a skip card from Uno. So I take it that he's not going to be participating because he's sent me a skip card before. Um, and I think he just doesn't want to be dragged back into YouTube drama. So there's that. And Phantom Lion has not made a submission for me, even though I did ask him directly. I think what happened was because he did send me a message after that. He said that he was going to uh, make a quick video for me and then go smoke a bowl. And I think he tried to do it in the opposite order, and just didn't work out because plans change after you smoke a bowl. So let's see. Ivan says vanilla versus chocolate. I'm your preference. I'm actually a vanilla guy. I do eat a lot of chocolate, but when it comes to ice cream, especially soft serve ice cream, I'm more of a vanilla guy. Umber Lapagos wants to know, do I get counseling myself like as part of my job? I have had jobs that offered counseling uh, at varying degrees. So you say as part of your job. Any job that you have that has health insurance, you just look at the little card that the health insurance uh, gave you, call the number on the back, and tell them that you want to talk to a psychotherapist. And they will tell you who's in network and will cost you the least amount of money. That's one way. A second way I have gotten counseling, as it were, um, is clinical supervision, where you, in those supervision sessions, you start talking about like the gripes that you have about work, and it does get close to therapy, but it's actually clinical supervision. So it's a different kind of relationship, um, but a lot of the same skills from uh, the counselors that are your clinical supervisors will be used on you. Um, there's also the employee assistance program uh, on a lot of jobs where they have this third party uh, provider that gives people access to certain types of counseling that you can use if you have a job that has the EAP program. And so these are outside contractors who contract with them. And if you were to say have a drug problem and decide that you wanted to get help and you don't want your employer to know, if your employer has an EAP program, you can contact that and get help for your drug addiction. And then your job is somewhat protected because you're trying to get help and it becomes like a medical problem rather than a lapse of judgment on your part. I've never done the EAP program style. Um, where are those stickers? Still on the same topic. And here they go. Uh, normalized therapy. I am currently trying to get some help through the VA. Uh, I have in the past, and I don't know where it's going because, uh, you know, I think navigating all healthcare systems is kind of weird, you know. But um, in the past, I've had my counseling through the VA because I like to have them do all of my healthcare. And even though I had access to other sources of counseling, I didn't take them up on that because if I needed counseling, I wanted all of my healthcare records to be in the same place. So when I have gotten what counseling I have gotten, I tried to get it through the VA. Um, also, as part of my grad school, I have had to go through group counseling because it is a condition of CACREP accreditation for schools that people who are in school to be counselors actually have to participate in group therapy, uh, where they get us all together like it's a class, but they bring in outside counselors and they uh, basically run a group counseling session for whatever we're going through. Also, even on top of that, I've had debriefings at work and in the field of counseling. A debriefing is like something really, really bad happened on the job, like a patient died or somebody got attacked by a patient. Um, and so they bring everybody into a room and it's like a really quick counseling session. So that's offered by jobs. Um, I hope that answers your question, but I have not gotten uh, counseling as part of my job as far as like a condition that I have innate within me that I'm seeking help for. If that ever happens, I'm going to the VA. Even if I have health insurance, I'm going to the VA because that's just my preferred provider. And in Denver, they're pretty good. Mm-mm. There's a talk about bullying me in the chat. Poseidon Kikladon wants to know what is my guilty pleasure viewing channel on YouTube. Let me just pull up my history and I will just uh, read to you guys like the last couple channels I've watched, I guess, until I come up with a guilty pleasure in all of that. Um, I think my guiltier pleasure than guilty pleasure channel that I might watch on YouTube is that it helps me get out of bed in the morning to look at something on my phone instead of just set my phone down and fall back to sleep and get woken up by the snooze. And so I've been watching TikTok videos in the morning because I have a TikTok account and I'm trying to think of a quick, easy video I can do to get another 200 followers on TikTok so I can do a live stream that happens simultaneously on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok and Twitch all at the same time. But that being said, there are some. I if I look at my YouTube history, I don't think that there's going to be anything that I feel is a guilty pleasure. But in my TikTok viewing, I have liked some TikTok videos that you could just look at my TikTok account and see what I've liked on there. That's they still have that feature there. They don't have that here on uh, YouTube where you can look at people's likes anymore. Used to be able to, but yeah, my TikTok likes are probably more guilty pleasure because man, that is a time warp that like I stopped using Facebook because of the time warp, and then I just let TikTok into my life. And I have been on TikTok like for 10 minutes looking at the For You page and then realizing, oh my God, I've been awake for 10 minutes doing nothing but like flipping up on TikTok fucking videos. Let's see. So today I watched a few secular talk videos and that one Black Dog video and Philip DeFranco. And I don't feel guilty about any of that. Yesterday I watched a music video by Mr. Wives. I watched a Joe Rogan Experience podcast uh, that was 2.5 hours long while I was putting my notes into the computer at work. Just I was probably listening to it in the background as background noise. Uh, Watched a couple of political videos. Late Night with Seth Meyers, Secular Talk. Um, a Dan Mace video where he played Eminem's Godzilla on hair ties, and some H3 podcast highlights that had to do with people that I usually watch. Let's see. Pittsburgh Dad, I'm not guilty about watching him. Uh, yeah, there's pretty much nothing I feel guilty about in my whole um, watch history that I'm looking at. It's really just like TikTok in general. Um, I'd say 1 in 5 videos on TikTok is just an underage girl dancing to some song that like is the same song that all the other girls are dancing to that day. Um, and that to me is kind of cringy, but whatever. Um, yeah, I'm when I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm actually watching to uh, expand my knowledge, and I like what I watch on YouTube. Like if I was doing like a good diet for my brain, I feel like I watch videos that are all informative and you know I get something out of it, and it's not like watching Survivor or Dancing with the Stars or uh, Jersey Shore, nothing like that. Um, I watch Jazza. He used to be called Draw with Jazza, and he might be going for an audience that is a little bit younger than me, but I appreciate his videos, and he does have kind of corny humor. So we'll go with Draw with Jazza as my guilty pleasure. There's Rebecca Watson in my history for the fourth time as I'm scrolling down. Um, I've watched a lot of MMA World videos because whoever is editing that channel, I really like, but I wish that they would use different music. It's kind of getting repetitive. It's been repetitive. Um, that's it. Um, Alan says animals pooping to dubstep. That must be what I sound like ASM style, like gracefulness. Ivan keeps on saying bye and parting note, but he's not leaving. Let's see. Popcorn Power wants to know, have there been any studies on the use of inspirational books on addicts, first person road to recovery narratives, or even motivational self help books? Yes. The biggest book that I know of that has been studied and has a lot of good evidence based power behind it is Rational Recovery. Um, that's the thing. Uh, what else? Seeking Safety is another one that I think has a lot of evidence backing it up, and as far as its validity. Uh, there's a book by William Glasser on choice therapy that is what kind of comes off like a self help book. And uh, yeah, I think those are just the ones off the top of my head. It's late though. I'm probably forgetting something very obvious. Ivan deleted his own message before I got to it. Poseidon wants me to listen to a music video that has nothing English in the title. No. Oh, Renee wants to know how my foot's doing. Uh, neither of my broken legs hurt right now. Um, both of them are healing, and the left one that I broke in December feels pretty much perfectly fine. The right one, I have a problem, and that is that I cannot squat. If I try to bend the knee while I'm standing up, I get about, I'd say, 4 or 5 inches worth of bend in my knee before I feel a pain in my ankle. because my tendons shortened because of the injury. And so I have to basically do physical therapy to stretch that until I get to the point where I can finally do a squat again. But if I was to go on a uh, job interview where they were testing your physical abilities, some of the job interviews I've had in the past had like lunges and stuff while I was an electrician. And I would not be able to pass one of those tests right now because of my ankle and that tendon in there. And Popcorn says, "Bro, do you even squat?" Um, I can't. It feels like if I went any further, I would like rip my tendon off the bone. And so I just get like a little bit closer to squatting each day, and hopefully one day I'll have it stretched to that point. Maybe I'm maimed forever and cannot bend my leg that way. Now, without any weight on it, I can bend it all the way. It's when I'm standing and I have weight on it, that's when I can't do it. So that gives me hope because the range of motion is still there. But other than that, well, both of those legs are not killing me, and I'm not taking any pills because of them. So I'm happy with that. Thanks for asking, by the way. Um, Popcorn Power wants to know the how effective rational recovery is. Uh, I have to look it up. All right. Not finding anything there. Give me a second. Uh, you know what? It's 1 hour into this, and I know that I've got 9 of you watching, but I feel like I'm going to take that question and pass it to the next session. because as Umbert is saying, agent of doubt, as let me Google it for you tonight. And really, that's something that if I'm going to find it, it's going to take like 20 minutes. So it's a question that I'd like to know the answer to as well. Um, what I'd like to know is the actual effectiveness of 12-step groups because that's really really hard to get because they're anonymous. They don't allow studies to be done on them, and there have been studies that tried, and they say that their efficacy is around 5%, but also there's like a 2% margin of error on that, and the rate of spontaneous remission of addiction is also 5%. So it could be that 12 step groups do next to nothing as far as increasing your chances of beating an addiction. And it also could be that they're hurting you by, up to 2% in that margin of error. And it could be that they're just helping very slightly. And again, these are studies that are run in very horrible ways because we can't have direct access to the client because they're anonymous. So we're just looking at, outside polling of them, of people who will contribute to these studies. And it's just, they're terrible studies. And there's also like, you can go to the people who sell the coins that people get, the chips, and ask them, how many 1 month chips do you sell versus 1 year chips versus 10-year chips, and you get like really, really horrible numbers. So, uh, anyways, I'm going to come back tomorrow with a better answer to that question. And also, hopefully, I'll give you guys a rundown of how the debates went with my perspective. And I'll try to teach Ivan a little bit about rational emotive therapy, as much as I know.